and talk. My name's Johnny, I'm one of the keepers here, and I'll be talking to you about our leopard seal Casey. And at the same time, my colleagues Jose and Kat will be feeding Casey in the exhibit and hopefully showing you some of his trained behaviours. Now, before I tell you about leopard seals as a species, I'll tell you about Casey as an individual. And Casey came to us back in 2007 as a rescued animal. He was actually found washed up on a beach just out of Sydney in the Royal National Park. And when he was found, he was thought to be about a year or two of age. And he was in quite a weary state. He was quite underweight, malnourished, and he had a couple of cookie-cutter shark bites on him. But luckily for him, he was found in time to be brought here to Taronga's Wildlife Hospital, where he was nursed back to health and then put on display for you guys to see. Now, there are a couple of reasons why Casey, unfortunately, will never be released back into the wild. And the first reason is that we don't know why he became lost and weary in the first place. And whatever reason caused him to strand in the first place, if we sent him back into the wild, it could resurface and that problem could reoccur, and he might end up in trouble the second time around. Now, the other reason why he's not going to be released back into the wild is because he's an Antarctic species. And there is an agreement between countries that get Antarctic animals on their shores not to send them back in case we send back with them any disease or parasite they may have picked up along the way. Now, the Southern Oceans are actually a very pristine environment, and the introduction of any foreign disease or parasite could cause widespread devastation. Now, Jose and Kat are actually just entering the exhibit, and you can see Casey moving along to this side of the exhibit. And they're going to be working with him from both this little island in the middle of the pool and from the eastern side of the exhibit as well. And Casey is a very well-trained animal. You can see Kat's just doing a few very basic husbandry and very basic training techniques with him at the moment. Some of his trained behaviours are quite spectacular and quite high energy as well. And all of our animals are trained using the same method of positive reinforcement. And positive reinforcement simply means that we reward the behaviours we want the animal to keep in the long run, and we ignore any behaviours we don't want them to keep. Now, I believe Jose and Kat are about to do what we call a recall. So you're going to hear the tap on the bucket. And instead of a recall, Casey actually did a high bow, which is one of his high energy behaviours. But with positive reinforcement, we can't actually force the animal to do anything they don't want to. We can just encourage them and reward them when they do that. And over time, that communicates to them what we want from them in the long run. Now, leopard seals are actually the largest of the 4 species of seal found in the Antarctic. And they're the second largest species of seal in the world. But something that's actually unique about leopard seals is that the females grow to be larger than the males. A male leopard seal like Casey in the wild would be expected to reach just over 3 meters in length, and they can weigh in the region of 450 kilos, whereas a fully grown female can reach anywhere up to and over 3.5 meters long and weigh anywhere up to 600 kilos. Now, in their natural environment in the Antarctic, they spend a lot of the time around where the ice and the water meets. That's their prime habitat, and they are opportunistic predators in this area. They feed on a wide-ranging diet, depending on what they can find at various times of the day and various times of the year. And they are known to eat tiny animals such as krill, which are tiny crustaceans that are found in the Southern Oceans, as well as various sizes and types of fish, and even larger animals like penguins and even other types of seal. Now, here at the zoo, we feed Casey on a mixed bucket of fish, but we also make sure we give him vitamins on a daily basis to keep him in the best possible shape. Now, leopard seals are a great example of what we call true seals. And there are 2 real main sections, or 2 main groups of seals in the wild. There are true seals, like leopard seals, elephant seals, and in the northern hemisphere, things like grey seals and harbour seals. And there are eared seals, things like sea lions and fur seals, like the ones you find at the seal show. Now, true seals like Casey move in the water and on land in a very unique way. You'll see Casey swimming over the other side of the pool at the moment, and he uses those large rear flippers of his, almost like a fish would use its tail, by swinging them from side to side, and that's how he propels himself through the water. Now, on land, these animals, these true seals, can't actually support their body weight with their flippers. They bounce around on their belly, and they look a bit awkward and ungainly, but they are still able of reaching some quite high speeds on land, and they have been known to chase researchers off of ice packs. Now, if we compare that to eared seals like sea lions and fur seals, they have very large front flippers and rear flippers that they can bend around to actually walk on all 4s on land, and for this reason they can actually reach very high speeds on land, and they can outrun most humans over short distances. And in the water, it's a similar story with these 2 large front flippers. They basically propel themselves through the water using these 2 large front flippers. almost like a bird would use its wings in a beating motion. Now, in the wild, leopard seals as adults are actually naturally solitary by nature, and they don't really congregate in large groups unless they're youngsters and they're just congregating for safety in numbers, or when it comes time to breed and they actually meet each other up and mate, and then they leave each other alone again. Now, thankfully for them, because of the solitary nature and because of the harsh environment of the Antarctic in which they live in, they haven't been hunted in the past like other seals have done for their meat or for their fur. Now, unfortunately though, leopard seals are still impacted by man's actions on a regular basis, and one way we impact these animals is actually by competing for their food with them. Now, it may surprise you to know that we overfish the southern oceans as much as we overfish any other ocean in the world, and one fish stock in particular that we're impacting is krill. Now, if you've been in Australia for anything more than a few days, you've probably seen some commercial on the television promoting some krill oil product, and that's the latest way for us to get omega-3 into our systems. But the krill that we use for these products is usually found in the Antarctic, and we haven't really done enough research about krill populations down there or our impact on this vital food source to really fish it sustainably. Now, also, we've read research that says that leopard seals can actually account for up to a third of their diet on krill alone, especially during the summer months when krill is very abundant in the southern oceans. Now, if we don't fish this sustainably, it means that we could be leaving a lot of very large animals, or a whole host of animals in fact, with very little food in the future. So all we can urge you here at the zoo to do is just make the right choices when you're purchasing products. Look for any label on the product that tells you it's sourced sustainably, and hopefully these animals will have a future full of fish. Now, one other way we impact these animals is actually through global warming, and this affects the very ice on which they live on, and they actually rely on this ice expanding and contracting with the seasons to migrate north and south of the real harsh Antarctic winter. Now, it may surprise you to know that Casey is helping the scientists here at the Australian Marine Mammal Research Centre with their global warming studies, and he's doing that simply by letting us measure the rate at which his whiskers grow. Now, the whiskers of these animals lock almost like a timeline of the food they eat and the health of that food. So by measuring the rate at which Casey's whiskers grow here in captivity, and then comparing that to the whisker samples taken out in the field, scientists are getting a better idea of how we've impacted these animals through their food in the past years, and hopefully how we can go on and help conserve them in years to come. Now, if you want to find out a bit more about our seals and see some more seals in action, please head up to Seal Theatre for the 11 o'clock seal show in about 5 minutes' time. And Seal Theatre is a big building up the hill from us with the sails above it. The easiest way to get there is up through the various networks of lifts and escalators up to level 3, which is the main elephant and food plaza area. Take a right at the elephants and you'll see Seal Theatre doors open and ready for you to take your seat. But that's pretty much it for my leopard seal feed and talk for today, so thank you all very much for coming down, for listening and for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at Taronga Zoo. Thank you.
Thank you.